This is the Tigers Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Detroit Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And here we go. Welcome into a live Locked On Tigers postcast. Was it just me, or was that a bit of a snooze fest? Angels even the series with a win over the Tigers, 7-4 the final. We'll play the rubber match tomorrow. On today's show, hey, Charlie Morton got roughed up a little bit. Angels played long ball, and the bullpen shut down. The Angels bullpen, I should say, shut down this Tigers offense down the stretch to earn the 7-4 win. We'll have our biggest talking point, our turning point, and our player of the game. And don't forget, your comments are always welcome on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. This is your Tigers postgame destination, free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on YouTube. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team each and every day. Make sure you like and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. And maybe if you're feeling generous, tell a friend about our postgame show because it's free. You just need the internet or your YouTube app, or wherever you get your podcasts, of course. All right, buckle up, dial it in. I honestly think the biggest highlight or the best part of tonight's game had to be the giveaway. I mean, if anybody was at the game, that the bucket hat with the paws tiger on the front, I saw a couple of people rocking them throughout the course of the telecast tonight, and I want one. I want one so badly. That's what I miss most about going to games, I think, are the giveaway. And I know anytime you open with the highlight of the game being the free giveaway for fans, you probably didn't go so well on the diamond, but hey, you got 162 of these. It's not necessarily, I think, a sound the alarms type of game. It just kind of was a meh game. I mean, again, I found myself a little bit bored during the game, if I'm being completely honest. Charlie Morton at times, you know what, let's go ahead and make that our biggest talking point, because you got a guy that comes over in the in-season acquisition at the trade deadline. You know, obviously each and every start he's going to be under the microscope, and you saw some good things today, but at the end of the day, the final line was not great.
This is what you'll be talking about.
I mean, he struck out the side twice, Charlie Morton did, for the Detroit Tigers, 10 Ks in total. So the swing and miss was certainly there, but he picks up the loss. He's 7-10 on the season, but you give up the 7 hits, 6 earned runs. He walked 1, but it's the 2 long balls that really cost him, because not just is it, you know, one swing of the bat, but the Angels found a way to really make Morton pay for the mistakes that he was making. You know, they go ahead with the 1-0 lead with the 2-out double, and I think Jahmai Jones could have played that ball much better, taken a better angle, and so on and so forth. Tigers offense comes back, gets the 2-1 lead in the home half of the second, but the top of the fourth, the home run, the Adele home run, that it was a 3-run shot to make it 4-2, and it felt like you were kind of up against it from there. But the Tigers were going to come back and at least tie it with Gleybor Torres' double. Vierling had a sac fly before that, and at 4-4 in the bottom of the fourth, I was thinking, all right, let's go win this thing. And that's when Ward hit that 2-run bomb to make it 6-4, and then the Angels never looked back. So again, I don't think this is, I hate to kind of be vanilla on a Saturday night after a Tigers loss. And we all know how I've been in the recent weeks of, you know, getting fired up here and there, and it be such a roller coaster. But this just kind of felt like a meh game. And got Casey Mize tomorrow to go out and try and win a series at home against an Angels team that you should absolutely win a series at home against. So let's get into some of the comments. I think this one nails it. Fishy all. I won't say it because we'll try and keep it PG rated here, but Morton was good and blank at the same time. It's kind of wild. He was good until he wasn't, and vice versa. So Fishy already giving Javi Baez the player of the game, and I don't disagree with that. We'll get into that a little bit later. Sean Gray's up next. Well, down to 5-game lead now. Cleveland not going to blow lead that they have on the White Sox. Yeah, 5-game lead. Who would have thought it on August 9th? We'd be talking about a 5-game lead in the American League Central after it was looking like the Tigers were going to win this division by an astronomical amount. And Ron Washington used to say, former Rangers manager, current Angels manager, obviously going through the health issues, he would say that's how baseball be. And it really is hard to make heads or tails of it. Jeff S is up next. They are definitely going to lose first place. That's the spirit. Hey, I'm right there with you guys. And I know sometimes the comments were not too friendly to me when I said how I really felt about Scott Harris and Chris Ilitch and their inability to capitalize on this window of winning now, or in their terms and their words, planning for the future without going all in. It was frustrating. And I wouldn't say that's caused me from a fan's perspective to punt on the season. I'm not saying that because, again, I live and die with this team. But there's the reality and kind of just the healthy dose of this is who this team is. And, maybe limping to the postseason, limping to the finish line is a little bit of an exaggeration, as we still have half of August and September to get through. A lot can happen, but it's hard to feel really good about this Detroit Tigers team, given the state at which we've seen, or the lack of quality baseball we've seen since the All-Star break, and really going back to the month of July. This ship that I've said time and time again is a sinking ship has started to take on water, and I believe that began in July. All right. Mike is up next. Nice starting pitching. Not sure if you're being sarcastic or not. Demetrius McNeil is up next. Jake, strike one, strike two, take a hike. Come back next game. We'll off to see Casey Mize and Mike Trout in person tomorrow afternoon, by the way. There you go. All right, Demetrius McNeil, have a good time at the game tomorrow, and we look forward to hearing your report. I love when people are at the game and they tell me what it was like, the atmosphere, the giveaway. I've already talked about that, but that being said, it's kind of a down. Morale is down. Morale is absolutely down within that Detroit Tigers clubhouse. And I'm very curious how AJ Hinch will, for lack of a better term, earn his paycheck, because everything's great when you're winning. And AJ Hinch's style translates to, when you're winning, and they say the players love him, but can he find a way to get the best out of these guys when they hit a rut, when they start to struggle? And, if there was a perfect formula for it, every manager would do it. But I worry about the Tigers, and I hate to keep using the sinking ship analogy, but it's snowballing, and maybe that's a better one. It just feels like these losses are starting to get more and more contagious, and the inability to put together complementary baseball from a pitching and hitting standpoint continues to rear its ugly head. So we got a couple of comments in here from Skip Gadberry saying fire Hinch. I don't know if we're quite there. Rich is up next. He says there's no sense getting upset. The pitching is just not good enough. AJ is like the boy who tries to stop leaks in a dam with his fingers. This spiral is out of control. Upset, no longer. Apathy. Rich, that's one of the saddest, most telling, and probably most accurate comments maybe all year. That it really hurts that that's the reality of the situation, but I am mad at you, and I don't blame you for that take or that comment. I don't know if I'm quite to the level of apathy, because this is still a team in first place on August 9th. But, man, what you just said, that sends shivers down the spine, because there's nothing worse than not caring about your baseball team. We had a decade of that in the Motor City until last year's miraculous run. So I appreciate the comment. I appreciate the honesty. Jeff S says this is on Harris and Ilitch, not Hinch. I think so too. I think more. I think more of it is on Scott Harris in particular. Maybe Mr. Ilitch. I'm sorry, Chris Ilitch, because Mr. Ilitch and Dave Dombrowski would go out and do everything they could to help this team win a World Series. And I said that time and time again. And this is just a different regime. There's no other way to put it. Okay, let's take a quick timeout, because we've got more to get to tonight. We've got our player of the game, our turning point, and we'll look ahead to tomorrow's pitching matchup. Don't go anywhere. It's alive. Locked On Tigers Postcast. This episode of the Locked On Tigers Postcast is brought to you by our good friends at GameTime. Far and away, the best way to buy tickets to a live event is with GameTime. I've been telling you about GameTime for a while, and that's because it's the only ticketing app I use because it's simply the best, my friends. We've all been there, logging on early, waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where GameTime comes in. GameTime makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer and closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. I love the app as well. You get a panoramic view from your seat within the app, so you know what you're signing up for. You don't want to end up like that guy that gets stuck behind the pole and can't see anything. And with GameTime, you can avoid that. I also love the no fees. With GameTime, the price you see is the price you pay. No hidden fees, all in pricing. That's what it's all about. So take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, use that code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create that account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the GameTime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. This episode of the Locked On Tigers Postcast is also brought to you by our friends at PrizePicks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason is already heating up, and college football isn't far behind. It's the perfect time to lock in your season-long, more or less picks for the 2025 football season, all before Week 1 kicks off. Whether you've got your eye on big-name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, PrizePicks makes it easy to get in on the game. Why not warm up with a little preseason action, more or less? And you know, preseason football can be hard to get to and get through, so why not add a little sizzle from your viewing experience with PrizePicks? Download the PrizePicks app today. Use that code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. PrizePicks, run your game. Tigers lose to the Angels. They'll play the rubber match tomorrow, 7-4, the final in this one. Angels bullpen shuts the Tigers down, and down the stretch, 4 scoreless innings. Let's go ahead and get into our turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Ward home run obviously comes to mind in the top of the 5th. But that being said, after the Angels take the 6-4 lead in the top of the 5th, it still feels like, okay, this is a Tigers team that was down 2 runs yesterday. You got the Matt Vierling 3-run homer to save them, and there was still enough at-bats to not necessarily feel completely hopeless, but credit to the Angels bullpen for shutting down this Tigers offense down the stretch and earning that win. Because, again, Ward hits the home run, 6-4, not ideal, and obviously that's where the game turned, but I didn't feel like it was over at that point, but maybe that's just silly me. How about our player of the game?
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Tosses 10 strikeouts. You feel like he's got a good chance to be the player of the game, but not the case with Charlie Morton tonight. A couple people saying Javi Baez, he did have 3 hits to lead this Tigers team as well as a run scored. And that's good enough for me because on a night where not really a lot of guys, he had 4 different Tigers tally in RBI. He had Gleybor Torres, Andy Ibanez, as well as Jake Rogers and Matt Vierling. So spreading the wealth, but not enough offensively to come away with the win. So bummer there, just a bummer of an evening. And again, I'm not trying to blow a gasket as I have on previous shows, but disappointing night at Comerica Park. And fortunately, you got one more game left in the series to try to bounce back. Casey Mize will go for the Tigers on Sunday, and we'll be live with you on a live Locked On Tigers postcast immediately following that one for the Detroit Tigers and Angels. Mize 10-4, 3.50 ERA, and 88 strikeouts. Looking for that 11th win. Need it. That's the best way to put it. Thanks as always for your comments. Appreciate everybody tuning in. And you know what? We are going to get through this. I feel a little bit responsible for some of the negativity on the streamcast tonight, but at the same time, not gonna lie to you guys. Love you guys, and we'll talk tomorrow. Thanks so much for all of your comments. Make sure you like and subscribe. Tigers fall to the Angels 7-4. Rubber match tomorrow. Talk to you then on a live Locked On Tigers postcast.